What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast number 316, powered by the one and only Golden Eagle Energy Drink. Get your Golden Eagle Energy Drinks at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. That's drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. They sponsored all season 4 of the podcast, so show them love for showing us love. Now, there's a lot that's been going on in terms of the Super Bowl talk of Kendrick Lamar and Lil Wayne, so we're going to go through that towards the end. There's been a lot of people that voiced their opinions, from Juvenile to Cameron and Mace to Birdman, Nicki Minaj, Fabolous, a bunch of people, right, that have defended Jay-Z or have. Nicki Minaj has been mainly the person that's been going directly at Jay-Z. And then there's been people saying that it's not Jay-Z's fault and that it's the NFL. They get the final decision, all this type of stuff. So let's get into just the regular news, and then we'll talk about that a little bit later. Diddy, this is hilarious. So Diddy got hit with a $100 million judgment. Yes, you heard that right. $100 million judgment against him by a Michigan inmate. I'm not even joking. So remember, I don't know how many episodes, probably like 10 episodes ago, right? That guy that tried to scam and, was in prison and did a lawsuit against him, and then they pretty much threw it out because he was like, hey, I don't know what the lawsuit was for, but they basically realized it was a scam and they just threw it out. But this guy, I think he got away with something. So let's go over the article. Diddy has been hit with a $100 million default judgment in a sexual assault lawsuit from a Michigan inmate known for frequently filing civil suits. The Detroit Metro Times reported Monday, September 9th, that the Lenawee County Circuit Court Judge Anna Marie Alazone issued the judgment in favor of 51-year-old Derek Lee Cardello Smith after the embattled mogul did not appear for a virtual hearing. In his initial filing, Cardello Smith claimed Diddy drugged and sexually assaulted him at a party he was working at in Detroit in 1997. He then filed a restraining order against Diddy in August to prevent him from selling assets that could be used to pay for the lawsuit. Cardello Smith also shared a log of his visitation record, which included Diddy's name, and alleged he was offered $2.3 million to dismiss the lawsuit, but rejected it. Should things move forward, the judgment could be the largest awarded to a non-attorney as well as to a currently incarcerated inmate in history. That is insane. Diddy's attorney, Mark Angifilo, issued a statement after the judgment. This man is a convicted felon and a sexual predator who has been sentenced on 14 counts of sexual assault and kidnapping over the last 26 years, Angifilo said. His resume now includes committing a fraud on the court from prison, as Mr. Combs has never heard of him, let alone been served with any lawsuit. Mr. Combs looks forward to having this judgment swiftly dismissed. It's wild out here for Diddy, man. He linked up recently with G-Dep, one of his former Bad Boy artists, which was pretty cool to see. But I don't know, man. The timing of that's very weird, and Diddy's kind of had this red target on his back. I think he's going back to Harlem to kind of get back to his roots so that people can show him love. In public, though, he doesn't really get any flack. In public, nobody really says anything to him, at least from the footage that we've seen. Like, he was on the beach at one point with, I think, Stevie J, and nobody really said anything, man. People just kind of saw him, recorded some videos, and some people actually showed him love, took photos of them, and stuff like that, which is interesting, man. In the public, most people online will say a lot of stuff, but in the public, whenever people run into these people, they never say anything. It's rare that somebody actually does or says anything. The internet is a totally different world versus what people are like in real life. So I want people to remember that, especially when it comes to a lot of these things and music opinion and advices, right? People have these opinions of these artists and say they're whack and this and that, and then you go in the real world and a bunch of people are listening to them, right? So the internet is something that's, it's not really the end-all, be-all to life, period. There's a lot of things that can be fabricated, a lot of things that are misconstrued, and, different viewpoints and things that are exaggerated that are not really that serious. So, we'll keep our eyes posted on this and see if he actually gets hit with this lawsuit. It's insane, man. $100 million is no joke. Not even Diddy wants to fucking pay any amount of that, but if they said you could have settled for $2.3 million, which is still an insane amount of money. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. Diddy has been hit with another lawsuit. Yes, just back to back. It's been I think that he might have the record for the most lawsuits as a celebrity or just as a person, period. I don't know. I can't keep track of all of them, but I think he's at least over 10 lawsuits in the past 8 months, maybe more, I think. Let's just go over the article. Diddy is facing more shocking allegations in a new lawsuit filed against him by former Bad Boy singer Don Richard. The lawsuit obtained by TMZ contains accusations of verbal abuse, assault, sexual battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress against the hip-hop mogul between 2004 and 2011, during which the time Richard was signed to Bad Boy as a member of the group Danity Kane and later Diddy Dirty Money. The 41-year-old singer claims that Diddy once barged into her dressing room while she was naked and groped her breasts and butt. On another occasion, he allegedly told her to come over to his Miami home and greeted her wearing only underwear. When Richard asked him to put on some clothes on, Diddy allegedly refused, screaming, "This is my fucking house." This guy is something else, man. This guy's a character. The Golden Heart artist further claims that she was tormented by Puffy while signed to his label, with the Bad Boy boss allegedly forcing her to rehearse for 48-hour stretches without sleep, causing her to lose a lot of weight, suffer from dehydration and fatigue, and develop rashes. She also alleges that Diddy once locked her in a car with the heavily tinted windows for 2 hours as she screamed for help, forcing her to phone her dad for help. When her father traveled from Baltimore to New York and threatened to call the cops on Diddy, the record executive told him to think about your daughter and to think about your daughter's career, Richard claims. According to the suit, Don Richard wasn't the only victim targeted by Diddy during this time. The former Danity Kane star claims she potentially witnessed him physically assault his then-girlfriend Cassie, citing an incident in 2009 where he allegedly threw the singer against a wall, choke her, and drag her up a flight of stairs in his LA home while high on drugs. Puffy also hurled a scalding pan of eggs at Cassie while yelling, "I've been asking you for my shit. I can't stand you, bitch. You never do it right," according to the complaint. During another incident in his LA mansion, Richard says Diddy punched Cassie in the face and attempted to strangle her. Cassie levied her own allegations of physical abuse, among other crimes such as rape and sex trafficking, against Diddy, and has since settled a lawsuit last November. While he initially denied any wrongdoing, a video later emerged, blah, blah, blah. Richard claims in her suit that she, along with others, including Diddy Dirty Money bandmate Kelina Harper, advised Cassie to leave the hitmaker, the All About Benjamin's hit. I don't know why they say it like this. Just advise her to leave Diddy. That's it. You don't have to do All About Benjamin's hitmaker. I don't understand some of these articles. When Diddy found out, he allegedly threatened them by saying, "Y'all bitches don't get in my relationship," adding, "Don't tell my bitch Cassie what she need to be doing. Just make money and shut the fuck up. I end artists. I shelve careers. You could be missing. You bitches want to die today." That is insane if that's true. Puffy's other ex, the late Kim Porter, is also named in the suit, with Richard claiming to have seen the model crying as she left the recording studio with injuries to her face in 2005. Wow, that's a hell of a lawsuit with a hell of amount of details. So far, the only one that I 1,000,000% believe, because there's been solid proof, is obviously Cassie. So if Diddy is capable of that during the hotel incident, I'm damn 1,000,000% sure he's capable of all these other things. Because that's the thing, man. Where there's smoke, there's fire. If a lot of people are alleging that they saw these things and witnessed these things, there has to be something to that, right? If it's one person, maybe another person, and they just hate your guts and they say you do these things, that you can kind of take with a grain of salt. Obviously, don't completely dismiss it, but just be like, okay, that's interesting. If something comes out, obviously the person's guilty. If nothing comes out or the lawsuits get dropped, clearly there's nothing there. But if more and more people keep saying this, there's reports, there's friends, there's old artists, there's new artists, there's this, there's that, there's engineers, producers, friends in the industry, not just friends that are close. There's got to be something. Bodyguards saying stuff and all kinds of shit. There has to be something going on. There's no way. So another lawsuit, another day for Diddy. I don't know, how he's going to deal with all these. I don't know if he's actually going to get locked up. I don't know what the feds are building up in terms of cases. This might be actually the feds' work. They might have gone to a lot of Diddy's artists and said, "Hey, has he done anything to you? Do you have any type of maybe solid proof that you can explain or show us?" And maybe this is why all these lawsuits are getting filed and more stuff is popping up as well. I don't know, but yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. It's going to be very interesting to see how he deals with all these lawsuits. Some of them might get dropped. Some might actually go to court. Some more information might come out of them, like videos and photos. Who knows? But it's a hell of a show that Diddy's put on for the world here when it comes to all the stuff he's been accused of. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted going forward. New details have emerged since Rich Homie Quan's passing. And if you're, don't want to hear any of this, just skip past this. It's pretty sad. More details about Rich Homie Quan's death has emerged following his tragic passing. This week, the Atlanta Police Department released an incident report on the rapper's death, containing statements from Quan's brother and girlfriend, the last people to see him alive. The report obtained by 11 Alive states that the lifestyle hitmaker was initially found at his Atlanta home asleep on the floor by the kitchen with food in his mouth by his brother Andre Munford in the early hours of September 5th. Munford told police that he carried Rich Homie onto the couch, describing the circumstances as very unusual. Hours later, Quan's girlfriend Amber Williams awoke to find him laying on the couch. She then left the house to drop her kids off at school. Upon returning, Williams said Quan had not moved from the couch. Assuming he was still sleeping, she went back upstairs to their bedroom to go back to sleep, the report says. After waking up, Williams said she checked on Quan at 11 a.m., which is when she noticed that his body was cold and he did not appear to be breathing. She immediately called 911 per the report. His brother found Rich Homie Quan on the ground, basically mouth full of food, which is like, I don't know if I've never had somebody that's been addicted to drugs, so I don't know. Like, I can't speak. The people that haven't, they really can't speak on these incidences with accuracy because they've never really had to deal with these type of incidences. That might have been a normal occurrence for somebody that's off of some type of drug, right? Most people that are on heavy type of drugs don't really act normal and they pass out at random times. So his brother might have just seen that and been like, damn, midway eating, he's on drugs so bad that he just passed. But that's like I don't understand as a brother how you don't notice that and be like, damn, that's a huge problem. Maybe his brother was on drugs as well and they just thought it was fine to be doing it together. But I don't know, man. To me, that's a very weird, dynamic as brothers. Like, my brother saw me laying down on the kitchen floor with food in my mouth. That would definitely be a red flag and be like, what's going on? But, like I said, it might be a drug thing where it's a normal occurrence for them because he did say it's very unusual. If something is very, if he said, hey, it's unusual that happened, but very unusual, that says that's way more unusual than usually it is, right? So I would have checked, did he check on him and he was still warm and breathing? So that's why he probably put him there. I don't know. But, yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy, and we'll keep our eyes posted and see what other details comes out from his autopsy and see exactly what he took that was bad that ended up, taking his life away. But yeah, rest in peace to Rich Homie Quan. Condolences to his friends and family. 50 has responded to Hurricane Chris. If you don't know what Hurricane Chris said, he appeared on Vlad TV and made this bold statement that he is a better rapper and a just overall better artist than 50 Cent. And to Vlad's credit, he pushed back and said 50 is a worldwide phenomenon. 50 is a great songwriter, blah, 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 right? And Hurricane Chris still felt like he was a better... To me, I took it as Hurricane Chris saying that he was a better lyrical rapper than 50, even though, towards the interview, he did say a little bit that he's a better songwriter as well. But that's the only category that I think is 50's weakness, where he's not this super lyrical guy every single song. Not that he can't be, because there's a lot of songs where he's super lyrical and he's a storyteller and all this stuff. But he just chooses the route of having more of a hit record. That's just his appeal. That's what he likes more, I think, at least. Even in the Power of the Dollar days, you could hear the melodies and the way he was doing things. They say the good die young. I love that record. It's one of my favorite off Power of the Dollar. But 50 caught wind of that and trolled him by posting a clip from Vlad TV. And this is kind of funny because when I heard this on the actual interview, I was like, what did he say? It makes no damn sense. So let's play the clip.
Louisiana got the fourth worst educational system in America. Fourth worst out of all 50 states. Louisiana got the fourth worst educational system in America. Fourth worst out of all 50 states.
So 50, Hurricane Chris says educational system in America, which is funny because he stated a fact and then proved that fact in the same sentence. He said, Shreveport, Louisiana is the fourth worst educational system in America. But he says educational, whatever the hell, however he worded it. And that's just hilarious that he proved that fact in the same statements he stated a fact. 50 then said in the caption, this is what happens when the educational system fails you in the 50 states of America, LOL. And Vlad actually commented, he says, I didn't want to correct him. Then Hurricane Chris commented and said, I was talking too damn fast, with a bunch of laughing emojis. At least he's taking it lightly. He's not really, mad about the situation. But, that's 50's response to Hurricane Chris basically saying that he's a better artist than him. I wish this was back in the days when 50 actually would record music and respond to people with music. But I think, man, I've talked about this millions of times. I think 50 should drop at least one more album. If I ever get the interview with 50, I'm just gonna say, please at least end it with something to say that, hey, I'm done. This is it. This is the final album for the fans. Enjoy it. I don't care what it sells. I could give two fucks about that. I don't think 50 even gives a shit. Even though 50 pays attention to numbers a lot, that's probably the reason why he isn't dropping an album. He's scared it's not gonna sell. If it has the proper promo, the right singles, I think he can do, 50, 70, maybe even 100,000 first week. That's not a flop. I think if he does over 50,000 first week, to me, that's not a flop. If he does under 50,000, I think if it's between 30 to 50,000, that is damn near a flop. And if it's under 30,000, you're just, that's terrible. That's trash. Like, you just got washed. But I think he could do at least 50,000 copies first week. I think if he does the right promo, the right singles, he could do 100,000 first week. This is 50 Cent we're talking about here. We're not talking about just some Joe Schmo that hasn't dropped music in a while. This is 50 Cent that hasn't dropped music in a while. So I think he could do it. I think what he would need is artists, like a single with an artist with a huge following, right? Like, imagine getting Rihanna back into music and having her on a hook, like an Eminem type of formula where it's a pop type of artist on a hook and then 50's rapping. Stuff like, Alicia Keys' New Day when they tried to do that route. But it just didn't work because Interscope was having issues with SMS audio and Beats by Dre and that whole Jimmy Iovine situation. But that New Day record could have been a worldwide phenomenon hit if it was pushed properly. Because they were supposed to shoot a music video for it, and then Chris Lighty died, and then it just kind of got thrown away, and then 50's doing Major Distribution and We Up, which are all great songs. The New Day, We Up, My Life. My Life was probably the weakest out of all of them because Adam Levine didn't really, just the song overall was all right. I didn't really enjoy it as much as like Major Distribution, We Up, and New Day. Those were like, out of all those four singles though I enjoyed. I think that run, if they would have done the proper execution of that, he would have had like a great Street King Immortal album. And then, you got I'm the Man, which 50 just randomly dropped and it did really well. So 50 has the ability to still sell records. I think he's just scared that if he drops an album, it flops. What's going to happen? Game's going to clown him. Rick Ross is going to clown him. Ja Rule's going to clown him. People are just going to, because 50 clowns people if they sell. Like, he just clowned Meek Mill and Rick Ross for selling low amount of copies. But if he drops an album and it sells low, I don't think it matters though. 50's so rich that, like, Candy Shop just recently hit 1 billion streams on Spotify. Somebody commented and said, what does that matter? Like, why is that such a big milestone? The milestone in my eyes is the fact that an old-ass song reached 1 billion streams on Spotify, meaning people are still listening to it. The song does about 420,000 streams a day just on Spotify alone. It's about to reach 1 billion views on YouTube, and who knows Apple Music. They don't release their numbers, but that's a huge accomplishment just for an old song doing it. Now, I get it. Money-wise, they're not really making a shit ton of money off of it reaching 1 billion streams. Off that 1 billion streams, he probably made, $100,000 off the song, right? Something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, but to 50, 100,000 is nothing, bro. He blew 500,000 just to Shreveport for the fucking cops to protect people. It's like 100,000 to him is like nothing. So they're not really concerned about. They shouldn't be, at least. Jay-Z, 50, M, any of these artists that's been in the game, Nas, Snoop Dogg, LL Cool J, any of these artists that have been in the game for a long, long time, we shouldn't really critique their sales. I get it. Eminem is still at the top, and he still does what he does. But even if he did, let's just say he dropped The Death of Slim Shady and it only did 150,000, I wouldn't clown him for it. Eminem's been in the game since 1999. Like, who gives a shit? When he was at his prime, he sold a lot, and that's all that matters. When you're at your prime, what do? Are you dominating? Because there's a lot of artists that hit their prime, but they don't sell a lot. There are a lot of artists that hit their prime, and they're all right. They don't do that well. Big Sean, example. He had a prime. He didn't really sell a lot first week. Wale had a prime. He didn't really sell a lot. There's a lot of artists that hit primes that do good, but they don't sell this astronomical amount of numbers and albums. And then there's artists that hit their prime and they dominate. Like, there's nobody even close to them. So, with all that being said, I hope 50 releases an album. Hurricane Chris might get him back in the studio by saying he's a better artist, because a lot of people are, I actually commented on that video from Vlad. Let me see what I basically said that I think Hurricane Chris misunderstood. Like, people misunderstood what Hurricane Chris was saying. Yeah, I'm like one of the top comments on there. But yeah, I just basically said he's probably meaning he's lyrically better. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see. I mean, I think Hurricane Chris, man, next time they do a Shreveport show, they should definitely get him on there. I think it's a good back and forth. It's fun. Hurricane Chris isn't taking it too serious. I don't think 50 is either. But yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. Speaking of album sales, Eminem has recently broken a record, a milestone in the Billboard 200 that no hip-hop artist has ever broken. So let's go over it. Eminem has achieved yet another milestone in his decades-long career, becoming the first rapper to have an album spend 700 weeks or more on the Billboard 200. How much is 700 weeks, man? How many years is that? 700 weeks is how much a year? 700 weeks. That is 13.4 years. So the album came out in 2005, 2015, 2025 would be 20. So it did fall off at certain points. That's insane. Billboard confirmed that as of Tuesday, September 10th, M's 2005 Best of compilation Curtain Call the Hits had officially hit the 700 mark with sales of 8,000 equivalent album units last week. The project is now the sixth album to reach the milestone, coming in behind records by Bob Marley, Journey, Metallica, Creedence, Clearwater Revival, and at the top, Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon with over 900 weeks. Behind Eminem is Bruno Mars with the eighth highest amount of weeks at 692 for Doo-Wops and Hooligans. Michael Jackson's Thriller at number 10 with 642 weeks. Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City at number 12 with 619 weeks. And at number 15, Drake's Take Care with 601 weeks. Wow. You would think Thriller would be up there, but I guess these newer generation of artists might end up breaking this record because these newer generation of artists got streaming, which obviously helps in discovering music and keeping them afloat in terms of charts. Because, whenever an artist passes away, even Rich Homie Quan now, we had him passed away type of way is climbing up the charts, lifestyles climbing up the charts. And back then, you didn't really have them climbing back up to the charts. Even if albums would sell, it would be like very rare that an artist would get back in the top 50. Now it's a lot more accessible, so it's a lot easier for artists to maintain not only relevance, but just to have like their classics last a long time. A slight loophole is behind the success of the compilation, as Billboard instituted a rule in 2014 that says a song that appears on an album more than one album must be assigned to just one of them for tallying purposes. The album that sells the most is that given week. Because Curtain Call contains all of M's early hits, they're frequently attributed to that project and thus often continue to add to its overall tally when each one is streamed. The list includes Lose Yourself, My Name Is, Without Me, Standing and More. Yeah, so Eminem kind of got it like a cheat code because he has like a greatest hits album. Everybody else, I think, because I don't know, Bob Marley, Journey, Metallica, Creedence, Clearwater Revival, and Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon. I don't know if they're actually physical, like just solid albums or greatest hits albums. The only ones I know is obviously Michael Jackson's Thriller, Bruno Mars, Kendrick's, and Drake's. Those are actual, like just their own albums. So Eminem does kind of have a loophole with having all of his hits on one thing, but that's a smart move. I'm surprised when Drake redid his contract, he didn't do a greatest hits album. Because he did redo his contract, got out of Young Money. Young Money, Cash Money should have a greatest hits. They really dropped the ball a lot of times with all their artists. Lil Wayne just finally got one, I think 2 years ago. Like that should have been happened. After the Carter 4, when he's blazing hot, add up shit. You could have added up before Carter 4. But I mean, that's the best time to capitalize on the greatest hits. Eminem's smart because their team capitalized on it while Eminem was still relevant, still hot. They did it in 2005. Yeah, was Eminem slowly starting to fall down, but not that much. And then he took that hiatus of his drug problems. But that's when you release a greatest hits, is when the artist is still blazing hot. 50s was released way too late as well. That's the structure of some albums, some artists. I'm surprised Young Money doesn't do that more often. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. A huge accomplishment to Eminem. Speaking of Eminem and albums, he did announce an expanded edition of The Death of Slim Shady. I was insanely excited for this, but it turns out this expanded edition is only going to come with like one new track. That's the rumor out there. Apparently somebody saw on Eminem's website that this track, it's supposed to be the Fuel version, but Shady Edition, featuring Westside Boogie and I think one more person. Let me see. I was like excited and hoping that maybe this expanded edition would have like 6 new tracks on there, and we would get features and all this shit. But apparently Eminem's just adding the 2 bonus tracks, which is the Kyrie and Luka featuring 2 Chainz, and then Like My Shit featuring 15 After. These are the 2 bonus tracks that if you pre-order the album, you got these 2. And then he's adding Fuel Shady Edition featuring Westside Boogie and Grip. And I think the Steve Birdman skit, number 20. I think that might have been on the album already, but I could be wrong. So yeah, basically Fuel Shady Edition featuring Westside Boogie and Grip are basically the only track that we're getting that's new. I was going to go live on YouTube to stream this, but there are also rumors that there's more coming, and that's not it, that this is legitimately, like, I had somebody on Twitter, let me see what his name is. Thomas D480 has a bunch of numbers. Shout out to him. His name on there is Bars as Big as Cars. And he sent this digital screenshot of Eminem's store. And not only does it feature, it actually doesn't feature that track that was on there, the Fuel Shady Edition. It features track number 20, which is Invasion featuring Billie Eilish. Track number 21, Julius Caesar featuring Westside Boogie and Grip. Track number 22, Fleshlight featuring Tyler, the Creator. Track number 23, PS featuring J. Cole. And track number 24, Friday the 13th. I don't know if that's real, but this person sent a screenshot of that. It could be just edited, who knows? I have no idea. I don't know which one to believe. I was going to go live on YouTube, but now that we have these like back and forths, I don't want to go live for one track. I'm not going to waste my time going live for one track. I already got enough on my plate. Going live is like something where I do for special, specific things. I wish I could go live more often, but when you're working on documentaries and stuff, it's just anything that eats away at your time is like you getting out of the zone of working on something. So I'll only go live if like big artists are dropping albums or something like that, or if it's like a special event. I would love to go live a lot more, but yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see. But there is an expanded edition instead of a deluxe. I wish it was a deluxe edition of the album where we got like another 10 or 15 tracks and Dr. Dre and 50 Cent were on them, like we were promised. But we weren't officially promised. We just assumed. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted moving forward to see what this album's about. Before we continue, I want to give a shout out to Golden Eagle for sponsoring this podcast. Yes, if it wasn't for Golden Eagle, this podcast wouldn't be possible. If you're looking for an energy drink that doesn't tear a hole in your pocket, Golden Eagle energy drink is the one you want to get. Golden Eagle has the smoothest taste with no aftertaste. You don't get acid reflux when you drink it, and you will save a lot of money. So check out Golden Eagle at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. The link is in the description below. And how do you think this podcast would be possible without me having energy to do it? Come on, guys. You guys got to remember this. I need energy to do this stuff, man, because there's a lot of crazy topics. So look how smooth this thing sounds. Look at it. Oh, my God. It's fresh. Look at that Golden Eagle. Look at the can. It's so beautiful, too, man. Look at that. That's so fresh, man. So fresh. Golden Eagle energy drink. Go to the link description below. That's drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. Let's continue the episode. Finally, let's talk about this whole Super Bowl incident. Continuing on from the last episode, basically Kendrick Lamar got the headlining for Superbowl Halftime Show. He did this little clip, responds subliminally to Drake in a lot of different ways, which has been broken down on the internet. First was the no round twos, where Drake said there's going to be a round two, and then there's a homage to some old World War footage from America in the 1970s, where the soldiers behind this flag, this American flag, And Kendrick's doing the same thing. And in that speech, the soldier's talking about, America loves to win. America loves winners. We only support winners, which is more clowning that Drake is Canadian and not American. And the speech, oddly enough, ends in the soldier talking about New Orleans. And Kendrick is performing in New Orleans. Then also Kendrick in the video is like running plays, which if you remember in the Laugh Now, Cry Later video, Drake is doing these football plays and then gets tackled. And then Kendrick is also kind of sunning Drake, saying that I'm going to teach you how to do these things the proper way. There's a lot of subliminals in that video that more people have discovered. I just, focused on the no round twos. And I knew there was more subliminals. I just didn't know what. And then people broke it down on the internet, as they usually do with anything involving Kendrick and Drake. There's got to be layers and layers and layers upon shit, as always. This is the only beef where I've seen people have just broken down layers of insane things that some of it makes sense and some of it's just like, come on, guys, now you guys are reaching. But from that, obviously a lot of backlash came towards Jay-Z, and people were like, why didn't you have Lil Wayne perform at New Orleans? I agreed with a lot of people. I said I think Lil Wayne should have got it, but I know what people are saying is during the Super Bowl, artists didn't have to perform where they're from, right? Like Beyonce performed, and she wasn't from New Orleans. She performed in New Orleans, right? I get that. But because the Dr. Dre thing happened in L.A., I think it would have been cool to have Lil Wayne perform in New Orleans. Now, a lot of people are clowning, Wayne and saying he's not a great performer live and all this stuff. And then people are speculating that Jay-Z has something against Nicki, Drake, and Birdman, but not Lil Wayne. I don't know. So first, let's go over all these responses from Wayne's label mates. So first, Nicki Minaj, she went on a whole rant on Twitter. I'm not going to read every single thing because it was just one thing after another. But this is what she said. Denying a young black man what he rightfully put into this game for no other reason but your ego. Your hatred for Birdman, Drake, and Nicki got you punishing Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne, the GOAT. Nola, what's good? And then she references the incident that happened with Eminem and 50 for the Super Bowl. She says, Eminem stood firm on having 50 Cent come out. A white man. Shit sad. House N-word with the ER tings. But it's good for them. No loyalty whelp. Them guys will keep sunning you. Laugh my ass off. Good Fidel gal. You good Fidel. Whatever the hell she's talking about, Jamaican talk there. Continuing on, she says, got everything in the world, still spiteful and evil, disgusting, be happy. Go fucking be happy. In rap business and woman business, when you got the politicians and the police, you good though. Plus that ugly, laughy, taffy alien. I don't know what the fuck that is, but Nicki Minaj just be saying shit. You can love and respect Kendrick and still love and respect Wayne, even though Kendrick loves and respects Wayne. Every real rapper loves and respects Wayne. What should we know about that? And then she basically, she then doubled down, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later. She doubled down and said that Tidal didn't pay her a single penny. And she was the one promoting it more than Beyonce. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But then Birdman jumped in, the Rich Gang, the guy who I created my whole Patreon after. Respect Rich Gang at Staten Island. Go to patreon.com/diverse mentality. Go check it out. Sign up, uncut videos, all that. Enjoy it. I appreciate you guys. Birdman stepped in and said, these guys pussy. And then he tagged Nicki Minaj, Drake, and Lil Wayne. YMCMB, I'm going to make these guys respect us on Miss Gladys. Miss Gladys, shout out to Miss Gladys. That's Birdman's mother that passed away. So when he says on Miss Gladys, it's over. He's serious. And then he said, hating shit for real. He also tweeted a few other things. Let me see, because I know he tagged Nicki. Hating shit for real. He said, Nicki Minaj, these guys, pussy, Barbie, YMCM, beast. That's what Birdman had to say. And then Cameron jumped in with Mace. They have their show that they do. And this is what they had to say.
I think it's a great opportunity for him to bring the pop out pause to the Super Bowl. I think that will really be crazy. If you really want to make a statement, Kendrick, bring the pop out on stage. I think that would be crazy. Bring every California artist that was at that show. I thought that was phenomenal.
And listen, I love Kendrick Lamar. I love the pop up. I think he's one of the top artists of this generation, period. Hate the selection. It's in New Orleans. You don't get Lil Wayne. That's what we doing?
Yeah.
Listen, you don't get Lil Wayne in New Orleans for the
Hot
Super
Boys.
Bowl. Not just Hot Boys, Cash Money, all the songs Lil Wayne's done, whether it's Blink 182, there's no reason why Lil Wayne should not be performing in the Super Bowl. It's one person who's stopping this. I know, it's not really a secret. Lil Wayne had a problem with somebody before who's kind of part of the organization running it. This is payback. Who's that? Who's Lil Wayne artist? Drake.
Yeah,
this
hating at this age is crazy.
It's crazy, bro. It's ridiculous. Like Mike, there's some hip hop shit that you probably don't know what's going on. To be totally honest with you, so we'll school you behind the scenes. Lil Wayne not to be performing in New Orleans for the Super Bowl is egregious, and it gotta stop.
It's hilarious. The funniest interjection is Mace with his glasses and his suit, and he said, hating at this age is crazy. That is just the funniest. I don't know. The way he said that, and he's right, man. At the big old age of like 50-something, hating is crazy at that point. But yeah, they felt that way, and they kind of said, basically, without saying Jay-Z's name directly, they said, hey, they feel Jay-Z's the one that's behind this, and so on and so forth. Juvenile jumped in, and Juvenile responded on Instagram video. That's what he had to say.
So everybody want me to speak on this Super Bowl situation. Look, I'm mad about the situation just like y'all, man, but, my hatred is toward the NFL, not really the people that booked the halftime show. I'm mad at the people that hired the motherfuckers that booked the halftime show. I feel like y'all should step in. Y'all done threw 11 Super Bowls in New Orleans, man. Y'all have yet to put a hip-hop artist from New Orleans on the damn Super Bowl. Sure, y'all have put artists on the Super Bowl back in the days. Al Hurt and the list goes on. Not too many. I feel like every time y'all come here, y'all should have somebody from our city on the shit. But this time it really hit hard when you don't have Lil Wayne on the show. I don't see how the fuck y'all don't have Lil Wayne doing the halftime show. Somebody that has a whole bunch of fucking hits, and somebody that really deserves it, and somebody that can bring out multiple artists of all genres. Think about it. So this goes to you, Roger Goodell. You need to get it right, man. You coming in our city, sucking up our cultures and making up all this money and putting all this bread in your pocket, putting all this bread in other people's pockets and leaving us dry, hanging us dry. You gotta stop.
I agree for the most part what Juvenile said. I just, towards the end where he says, you're coming up in our city, taking up all our pockets. Super Bowl doesn't pay the halftime performers. Now, do their streams go up? Yeah, so it does help a little bit, but like Super Bowl performers have never gotten paid. But it does help with streaming and stuff like that, and just notoriety and publicity. And yeah, so it does put a little bit of money in the artist's pockets. But for the most part, I agree with him. He's right. I mean, Lil Wayne is a generational artist who has pop hits that he could perform, not just hip hop records. He also has connections to like every artist because he's done features for every artist. So he can bring out a lot of people as well, just like Dr. Dre did. Yeah, it just would have been cool. I have no issues with either Kendrick or Wayne performing. I do think Wayne should have been the one that's performing, but, Kendrick to me is a once-in-a-lifetime generational performer. Him and Baby Keem, when they're performing at Family Ties, I don't know what concert it was. It might have been for the Mr. Morale and Big Steppers. I don't know. But they had these like fires jump, and it just felt the energy was insane. So I know Kendrick's going to put on an amazing show, but I definitely feel Lil Wayne should have got it. Master P jumped in. And Master P kind of went the more respectful route and said, salute to Kendrick Lamar for performing at the halftime show, which he hasn't yet, but for getting the performance. Well deserved. He's one of the hottest music artists in the world and has one of the biggest songs right now, he wrote. As an ambassador of entertainment in the city of New Orleans, after agree with the fans that Lil Tunechi, Lil Wayne should be a part of this celebration as well. He's one of the greatest hip-hop artists alive, still relevant, and he's a New Orleans native. Let's not miss this cultural moment in the South. Life is too short. We have to give our legends their flowers while they are here. Master P Masterclass. God is good. Change starts with us. He tagged NFL, Jay-Z, and Mayor Cantrell. I agree, though, but I don't know if Wayne's going to want to do that. And we're going to talk about why Wayne didn't get the Super Bowl nod. There's been a lot of rumors floating around, and a lot of it's starting to make sense. Now that I put the pieces of the puzzle together, and I just did that while I'm recording this podcast, actually, which is hilarious. But Boozy responded, and said, y'all acting like y'all cool with how they playing it for the Super Bowl, shaking my head. The most cultural city in the USA, New Orleans, is a smack in the face to every hip-hop legend from Louisiana. Master P, Birdman, this shows they never wanted y'all to kick in the door in the first place because they still trying to lock it. Super Bowl 22 was in Cali, and Cali artists was allowed to do their thing, and it was a great show. But now it's in Louisiana. No Louisiana legends can't do their thing. I don't respect it. Yeah, so that's Boozy's take. And then Hurricane Chris also jumped in and basically compared the situation to 50, what he did with Humor and Harmony. He said, so now you guys understand it, huh? Same shit I was saying at 50 Cent in Shreveport, now it's happening in New Orleans on a bigger scale. People like Master P come out on it, so now everybody understand I just made this same fucking statement. Chris then warned, when you come to the South, y'all got to show more respect than this. We got our own culture here, guys coming down here laughing, playing games, thinking they're just going to use their money and take over everything. It ain't going down like that. We're going back and forth to that old fucking law. You guys stepping on turf, going to do what you're supposed to do, or you're going to pack your shit up and get the fuck on. All that nice guy shit is out the window. Fuck being nice. Fuck trying to cop deuces. I take back every nice word I said to you guys. Get your fucking mind right, or we going to make guys get their mind right. How about that? Let me play the clip.
So now you understand it, huh? Same motherfucking shit that I was just saying 50 Cent did in Shreveport. Now it's happening in New Orleans on a bigger scale, so people like Master P come in on it, you know, so now everybody understand. I just made this same fucking statement, but I guess, you know, because I ain't my brother, motherfuckers ain't get it. Well, I'm glad it's going down like it's going down. God told me to just sit back and motherfuckers' eyes was going to be open. It don't matter whether you small or big. It don't matter whether you large. It don't matter whether you tiny. Homage is old. Respect is old. You supposed to pay respect to the motherfuckers that laid the foundation before you. I wouldn't give a damn what your organization is. I wouldn't give a damn how much money you spent. I wouldn't give a damn what you did. When you walk into a house, you speak to everybody who live in that house, and you pay respect to everybody who live in that house. I'm from the South. Now, wherever you from, you go do what you do wherever you go do it. But when you come to the South, y'all got to show more respect in this, bro. We got our own culture here. Coming down here laughing, playing games, thinking they just gonna use their money and take over everything. It ain't going down like that. We going back to that old fucking law. Stepping on turf, gon' do what you're supposed to do, or you gonna pack your shit up and get the fuck on somewhere. All the nice guy shit out the window. Fuck being nice. Fuck trying to cop deuces. Take back every nice word I said to you. Get your fucking mind right, or we gonna make get their mind right. How about that?
Yeah, Hurricane Chris is super upset. Then Drake responded as well, but Drake didn't say any words. Drake just went on his Instagram page and posted a bunch of photos of Lil Wayne. Classic old photos. Basically saying that it should have been Wayne. The respect needs to be on Lil Wayne. Didn't say a word, but it's clear as day how he feels. Now, I'm going to talk about the artists that defended Jay-Z. Fat Joe, Fabolous. But let's play the Fat Joe clip. Let's see what he had to say.
Years ago, the beef with the NFL was that black people wasn't represented. And they was doing us wrong, even though we was the talent, whatever the case. But then they put Jay-Z and Rock Nation to do the shows, and they brought out Dr. Dre, Eminem, everybody, #1 ratings, Rihanna. They killing it. So now, of course, the hip-hop community likes to attack the hip-hop. And so, yeah, Jay-Z's a big voice. But, you know, he got to go through the NFL ranks, the Roger Goodells, everything like that, so they could come out with who's performing at halftime. It ain't just one man's decision that I know of. And so, to just throw the blame on the man, how about if he wasn't doing these shows, it'd be no hip-hop. If he wasn't doing the halftime, the Rock Nation, there'd be no hip-hop, because there never was hip-hop. You be listening to, don't go messing with it, Cotton Eye Boy, Cotton Eye Joe, Cotton Eye Joe. You be listening to that shit at halftime. And so, be careful what you wish for.
That's fair. That's a fair response from Fat Joe. I think, you know, a lot of people are putting the weight on Jay-Z, and I get that, but I do think Jay-Z has more influence than people think. I do think he does. That's the smart thing about Jay-Z, right? He stays far away from any type of bullshit, but he'll make the move. It's always been like that. Think about it. Even 50's mentioned it. You know, when beefs were happening, he would put other artists in front of him, so he would stay far away from him, and then he would have them artists do the dirty work. And if something happens between them or something like that, Jay-Z's like, I never had anything to do with it. But everything somehow leads back to Jay-Z in one way or another. Because the people that are smart understand that, you know, Jay-Z is, you know, more of a chess player, not a checkers player. He knows that if he stays far enough away from the situation, yeah, he might get some flack, but people can't directly blame him for it. But yeah, Fabolous then responded, and this is what he had to say.
But I do see like people blaming it like solely on Jay-Z when I don't think that's the truth. I think it's a committee, it's a board. I feel like it's different people who come into play when decisions like that are made. I do think it would have been great for Lil Wayne to be, you know, just because of how much he's done in the game and how much he's meant to New Orleans, and, you know, that would have been a great opportunity. Never know if he's going to be included, if that was something that was behind the scenes. I think it was interesting that Kendrick got it after the Drake battle and shit too. I think that's more something that should be talked about. You know, I think his relevance is really up from that, so that could be something that tipped the scale too.
Yeah, we don't know if Wayne is a special guest, like how in Dr. Dre, Eminem thing, where all that, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick, 50 became a special guest. Obviously, that was forced. Eminem had to force that, but now with all this backlash, Kendrick might have to bring out Lil Wayne. Maybe Kendrick does a couple songs, then brings out Lil Wayne. I don't know. But there's still a chance of that. I think to completely dismiss Lil Wayne from this is wrong. And then on top of that, like Fabolous said, and I mentioned this on the last episode, it is interesting that Kendrick gets this after the Drake battle. It's like, you know, he could have gotten this when he dropped Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, but I guess since he's the hottest thing out right now after this battle, it makes more sense. Continuing on, Mal from Rory and Mal, and Mal's been known to be a really big Drake fan. He claimed that Drake has turned down the Super Bowl halftime many times. And I don't know. I really don't believe this because, you know, if you're going to say big as a Super Bowl, why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Why wouldn't you do shows? Like that is the best example of you being on top of your game. That is like the best time to say, hey, I'm doing the Super Bowl. Why not? Like every artist wants to do the Super Bowl at one point. In America, it's the biggest thing. If you're outside of America, you probably don't give two fucks, right? Like, and you shouldn't really. I don't watch the NFL. No disrespect to the NFL. I just don't give a shit about football, that they call it here, because it's really football's soccer, which they call here soccer, which it's actually football because you're using your feet and it's a ball. So I don't know, whatever. It's a whole mixture thing in America. They love to be the special, different versions versus everybody else. But the Super Bowl here is a big deal. A lot of people watch, hundreds of million. Probably, I think the last one got 100-something million views. So there's just about 350 million people in America. So that's about 1/3 almost of people in America watch the Super Bowl. So it's a big, big deal. Most people don't watch that much. You know, it's a big deal here, and a lot of people are going back and forth, and Maul's saying that Drake's the one that turned it down. I don't believe that. I think there's a lot of rumors that go around with Drake, that Drake this, Drake that. Drake had this insane diss record for Pusha T that would have destroyed Pusha T and Kanye and never came out. Drake knew the information about Kendrick Lamar and the mole that he had, and guys, let's stop. Drake is amazing, talented artist, but he doesn't have this information on everything. He's not this person that knows everything and has everything planned out. And no, people make mistakes. He's a human being at the end of the day. He's not perfect. Neither is Kendrick. Neither is any of these artists. But, you know, I understand where fans are coming from because they're probably trying to flip this and be like, oh, you know, Drake has been offered that millions of times. You don't want to do that bullshit-ass show. That's false, man. Michael Jackson's done it. A lot of people that are legendary have done the show. If you want to be a legendary status, you have done the show at least once. But continuing on, here is, I think, one of the reasons why Lil Wayne didn't get the show. Wayne, and now that I'm connecting the dots, makes sense. Wayne, there is a rumor that Wayne allegedly smacked one of Beyonce's backup dancers roughly a year ago. And this is a Reddit user, so I don't know, take this with a grain of salt, but this same Reddit user also predicted like that coming out. This same Reddit user said that there's going to be a verse that Kendrick's going to do, and it's either going to be for Future or Metro Boomin's album, and this verse is supposed to diss Drake. And literally like a couple weeks or a month later, that happened and it came out. So this user got some type of credibility. This user also heard rumors that Lil Wayne allegedly smacked one of Beyonce's backup dancers, and that made things worse when it comes to the relationship. On top of that, Lil Wayne is tied to Nicki Minaj and Drake, and they have issues. Jay-Z and Drake have had subliminals and stuff, issues with each other for a while, and I think it mainly started when the Tidal and Apple Music thing happened, because Jay-Z did this thing, right? He launched Tidal, or at least bought it for somebody, and then, took it over and said, hey, Tidal is for artists. Tidal is for artists to get every penny that they deserve from streaming, and it's going to be the artists running things and no longer these labels, right? So Jay-Z has this crazy launch, and he promises all this stuff and says, all you artists that come here and drop exclusive content on here, we'll give you a share of the company. I don't know what the share was, 1.5%, 2%, some people are saying 3%, whatever, a share of the company. A very low share, but it's still a share of the company. And he promised all these things. Nicki says, she promoted the fuck out of Tidal and never got a penny. This is what she wrote. And this person said, and anybody who had that 1.5% got paid. Nicki responded and said, I didn't even get one red penny when no one promoted it more than me outside of Beyonce. LOL. So she said Beyonce promoted it more outside of her. Sorry, I got that wrong in the beginning. I said she promoted more than Beyonce. But after that whole event, right, Drake decides not to go with Jay-Z. He decides to go to Apple Music route because Apple Music is giving him hundreds of millions of dollars. I think they offered him $40 million. And then Drake had his own radio show as well and said that, OVO radio, he said, fuck that, I'm going to take that money, blah, blah, blah. And he went that route. And that's where kind of tensions happen, the charged up verse where he says, I'm going to feel entitled. I forget what he says on the exact line. What is the charged up lyrics? Got me with a deal with Apple. Let me see. But I still feel entitled. I think that was the bar. Yeah, so I got me a deal with Apple, and I still feel entitled. So he's, playing off words here, saying entitled, but title he's throwing in there. He says, rumor has it, there's something that only I know. Rumor has it, I steer the shit with my eyes closed. Rumor has it, hasn't done you guys any good. So he's basically about my guys' rollies off thanking me later with these boys was stanky legging. Trust me, the information is vital. I'm trying to take the high road. I still got love for my idols. So here, people were speculating that he sent subliminals to Jay-Z and said, this guy's trying to destroy my career and take me down. And that's not, here's the thing. I am a 50 Cent fan. So this, to me, is not far-fetched because what happened with 50? When Jay-Z couldn't compete with 50 and decided to retire, which is, I don't care what anybody says, it was convenient for this guy to retire right when 50 blows up. That was the most convenient retirement ever. And then Jay-Z goes to Def Jam, and Kanye is on Def Jam. 50 sets up a battle with Kanye. What does Def Jam do? Jay-Z as the president puts all their marketing dollars behind Kanye to push him to destroy 50. And that essentially got 50 out the way. After Kanye beat him, 50 was never looked at the same, unfortunately. And then 50 had issues with Interscope as well, so that obviously didn't help the situation. But he stayed far away from that. You notice how he stayed far away. He said, stay. You know what's funny too? When Jay-Z appeared on the I Get Money remix, he said, do not release that track until after the first week sales. Then you can drop the track because I don't want me helping you sell. Which is bullshit. Whatever. I don't know. That's a whole different thing, but here's the thing. Jay did that with 50. 50 is well aware of that. Why wouldn't he do that with Drake? Why wouldn't he try to take down Drake? Drake has had an insane run that has washed Jay-Z's career. Right now, the only person that's been toe-to-toe with Drake is Eminem. And I think Drake will eventually surpass Eminem because of the streaming stuff. Now, in terms of physical CD sales, hell no. Nobody, I don't think, is touching Eminem in terms of hip-hop, period. But streaming and all this stuff, obviously, because Eminem doesn't come from the era of streaming, so it makes more sense that Drake dominates that. That's just how the way it goes. Newer generation, it is what it is. Seeing as Drake has been running things for a while, I'm not surprised that Jay-Z doesn't like him and wants to take things down. But going back to the Lil Wayne smacking allegedly Beyonce's dancer, you got to think there have been a lot of different rumors and theories that Lil Wayne is hard to work with. And Lil Wayne, now remember, here's the connection I made. Remember when I had Kid here on the podcast for the first time doing an interview? What did he call Lil Wayne? He called him a spoiled brat. And I honestly believe that wholeheartedly. Lil Wayne has been the apple of Birdman's eye since he was 13, 14 years old and has been spoiled throughout his whole career from Birdman. And Wayne has this type of thing where you can tell it's a pain in the ass to work with him. A lot of people have said that. And if he actually smacked Beyonce's backup dancer, that's another thing that hinders him. And Jay-Z ultimately hates Birdman, Nicki Minaj, and Drake. He hates Nicki Minaj. I don't know, they had the Rock Nation thing where Rock Nation's trying to take her down and a bunch of, I don't know that story 100%, but it's not far-fetched for Jay-Z to say, hey, Kendrick smoked this guy Drake. Let's get Drake the hell up out of here as much as we can, and let's get Kendrick on the halftime show. Now, I don't want people saying that Kendrick only got this show because of Drake and only because Jay-Z wants to destroy Drake's career. That is bullshit. If you take that stance, that's bullshit because Kendrick deserves this. Kendrick has had a relevant career regardless of battling with Drake or not. So I don't want people saying, that. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. But this show definitely played a role from the battle, and Jay-Z said, hey, this is the perfect time to completely try and crush Drake as much as possible. And a lot of Drake's songs that have been getting released from these drops that he's been doing haven't really performed that well. Even though the last drop he had with the No Face, what was the other two tracks? I don't remember the titles, but those last 3-pack drop that he did, those tracks were fire. I enjoyed all 3 of them. The one before that was all right. I think the only one I liked was Young Thug and 21 Savage. The other 2 tracks were kind of dookie. Were actually dookie, never mind. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes going on here, and I think I'm gonna do. I might do a piece on Jay-Z and Young Money. Just the piece of Nicki, Birdman, and Drake, and then see how that ties to Lil Wayne. Because, I don't think there's really enough for just Drake, Jay-Z versus Drake, or Jay-Z versus Nicki Minaj. I think all of them together is a way better piece of work that can explain things a lot easier and a lot more detail. But, a lot of it makes sense in my eyes. Now, I'm not saying that Jay-Z is this complete hater and that he planned this, and I've seen it in my own eyes as a 50 fan. I'm just saying. That whole Def Jam and Kanye thing was not a situation that was 50 versus Kanye. It was 50 versus a whole label. Matter of fact, today is the actual, 17th anniversary of the Curtis album, Graduation album, and the battle. And I want to remind people that Curtis did 691,000 copies first week with both labels against him. Interscope was against him, leaked a bunch of his tracks. Def Jam was against him, obviously, because they're pushing Kanye West, and Jay-Z hates 50's guts. Yeah. So I don't see this as something that's far-fetched. I think Jay-Z does not like Drake. I don't think Jay-Z likes Drake's run. I don't think... Because Jay-Z wants to be the GOAT. He wants to be seen as the best, period, ever. He wants nobody being ahead of him in any way, shape, or form. He can brush off the Eminem thing as him being white, even though Eminem has surpassed Jay-Z in a lot of things. But Eminem also hasn't been disrespectful towards Jay-Z. Drake has constantly went subliminals back and forth with Jay-Z. See, Drake is having the same type of relationship 50 and Jay-Z had, where they were cool, but they still sent shots at each other and they had the competition going against each other. And that's the same thing Drake is having with Jay-Z. That's why 50 kind of understands where Drake is coming from and what he's dealing with, because 50 dealt with the same type of thing, where a lot of people were coming against him to take him down. But 50 was more outspoken. That's what kind of got his downfall a lot quicker, because fuck Jimmy Iovine, Curtis Interscope Jackson, I'm from 134th Street, all this stuff that 50 would say obviously escalated. 50 had a big mouth and said, fuck you guys. He didn't care. He wasn't the type to hold his mouth. Drake is doing things a lot more subliminally until recently this year. He did kind of pump out his chest with push-ups and Family Matters and all these tracks and said that, hey, I'll take all of you guys if I have to. But there is something going on behind the scenes here. To deny that and say, oh, it's nothing and you guys are reaching, no. Because Jay-Z has a track record of this. Just go to my 50 versus Jay-Z video and you'll see there's a track record of Jay-Z doing things like this. Not only with 50, but with other artists as well. Cameron knows it best. So if Cameron's saying it has to do with something with Jay-Z, come on, guys. Like the people that were the closest to him, the people that dealt with him, know these things. But hey, it is what it is. We'll keep our eyes posted, but it's interesting overall what's going on, right, with everything. Now let's get into the Billboard Hot 100, and let's see what the charts are looking like. Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us has gotten back on the #1 Apple iTunes charts, Apple Music charts, so I don't know if that's going to push the record back up because of the whole Super Bowl headlining announcement, but we'll see. The first song, still Shaboozey, is at #1 with the bar song Tipsy. #2, I Had Some Help, Post Malone, Morgan Wallen. #3, Espresso, Sabrina Carpenter. #4, Sabrina Carpenter, Please, Please, Please. #5, Taste, Sabrina Carpenter. Jeez. #6, Die With a Smile, Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. #7, Birds of a Feather, Billie Eilish. #8, Good Luck Babe, Chappelle Roan. #9, Lose Control, Teddy Swims. And #10, Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us. SZA Saturn, #25. Like That, Future, Metro Boomin, Kendrick Lamar. #27. That went up a lot because of the Super Bowl halftime announcement. Makes sense. TGIF, Glorilla, #35. Wannabe, Glorilla, Megan Thee Stallion, #38. Houdini, Eminem, #44. 101, Gunna, #53. Whiskey, Moneybagg Yo, Morgan Wallen, #55. No Face, Drake, debuted at #60. No Face. I like that record. That's a not bad debut, but Drake usually be debuting this shit at like the top 10. Circadian Rhythm, this is another track I really like. It debuted at #69 on the charts. Band for Band, Central C, Lil Baby, #71. It's Up, Drake, Young Thug, 21 Savage, #74. Taylor Swift, A$AP Rocky, debuted at #84. Sexy Red, Drake, You My Everything, #88. Prove It, 21 Savage and Summer Walker, #97. Lil Yachty and V's Sorry Not Sorry, #99. Oops, and I kind of skipped over this. Parking Lot, Mustard and Travis Scott, #98. But yeah, that's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, powered by the one and only Golden Eagle Energy Drink. Get your Golden Eagle energy drinks at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. They've sponsored all season 4 of the podcast, so show them love for showing us love. Spotify, Deezer, Pocket Cast, YouTube, all that. Please support. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.